I'd like to welcome Lisa to the stage to share a story of one of our nurses in our community that has had some things happen. And we're all about, obviously, all the signs that are around us today, guys. There's been a lot of time and energy that has gone into this. I just want to explain that. A lot of these signs that are placed on little, tomato stakes, they're vaccine injuries in our country that are happening every day. With cardiomyopathy, lots of different things that are happening. So we encourage you to have a look through these to see, what exactly is happening, because we aren't getting this information through our proper media channels or mainstream media channels. So we're trying to show to you what really is going on, and we're hopeful that that will make you able to have a decision about what you want to do. This isn't, and I want to make it very clear, this is not anti-vax. A lot of people in town have a perception that this is an anti-vax rally. It certainly isn't. It's about choice. It's about freedom, and it's about making an informed decision about your own medical situation. So that's what we're here about. I want to make that very clear. Whoever's here today that is vaccinated, we love you, we welcome you. Whoever's not, we love you, we welcome you. This is about stopping the division and bringing us back together. Thank you, Lisa.
Hello, my name is Lisa. I spoke at the last rally. I'm the natural nurse of 11 years. And firstly, before I share a story of another nurse who's going to remain anonymous, I just wanted to briefly touch on how we can get freedom via our mind. So I want to talk about fear. Fear is a very destructive emotion. I think we can all agree. And you can see it's a very, quite a tool that can be used if you want someone to do something, you fear them. You get them fearful, and unfortunately, we know. So who here, let's be honest, who has felt over the last 2 years or even before that, who has felt prolonged or short-term fear? Let's be honest, hands up. Who's been fearful? All right, look around you. These people understand you and are here for you. If you are ever struggling with intense fear, reach out to someone. Reach out to us, reach out to your neighbour, your friends, family, anyone who will understand or listen, reach out. And if it's really quite severe, your fear, I honestly recommend connecting back to nature, just stopping what you're doing, deep breaths, go to the beach, do some gardening, just connect to someone, connect to nature. It's only natural. As living human beings, we're going to feel fear and other emotions throughout our lives. We can never fully rid ourselves of that. But what is the opposite to fear? It is faith. How do we get faith? Well, there's a few options here. People get faith from God, from the belief that there is a power coming to and through us. It's true, it exists. It can be photographed. So there is a power coming to and through us. It's your choice what you turn over that power to. So to get faith, it's through knowledge, through study that creates understanding. Now, we don't need to spend a lot of time studying about what's going on right now, especially if it gives you a lot of fear. But we can all agree the knowledge that things aren't right. Simply, things are not right. And there's been far too many goalposts moved, things being said and done, chopping and changing, inconsistencies. We know things are not right. So just be aware of that, but do not let it fully consume you. So understanding comes from knowledge. And then when you understand, it makes you at ease. It makes you feel relaxed. You're able to create more and find solutions. We must focus more on the solutions right now. That's why coming to this rally, connecting to people, we can find ways to get through this together. We must understand as well that nothing is created or destroyed. Everything we'll ever need is already here, if not in one state, in another. All knowledge there ever was or ever will be is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. All the power there ever was or will be is also here 100% equally present in all places at the same time. Look at everything around you that exists currently. It's always existed. The only thing that was lacking was the awareness on how it can exist. So use this to know that we as people are quite powerful, especially coming together. Everything and anything is possible because thoughts truly become things. Are you picturing the problems? Are you stuck on the problems, or are we trying to find solutions? That's what we need to focus more on, because it'll make you in a better vibration and you'll attract better things to you. With knowledge and understanding equals faith. Faith is well-being, good energy out and it returns. This equals a momentum, a state of exhilaration where your body is at ease. And you're moving toward in a creative vibration of what you would love. We can build new systems. We can build new communities. Where there is a will, there is a way. To be successful, we must be in a good vibration. Fear will never fully go away, we know that. But just don't give it full attention. If you need any help with this, definitely reach out to people. Read books at the moment. I recommend, they're very powerful. I've been reading a book. It's called The Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. He was a psychiatrist in a concentration camp in World War II. And he's got some very powerful quotes I just want to share with you. He says, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Forces beyond your control can take away everything you possess except one thing, your freedom to choose how you will respond to the situation. You cannot control what happens in life, but you can always control what you feel and do about what happens to you." It's pretty powerful. So thank you for that. I'm now going to share another nurse's story. She will remain anonymous, but here it is. Everyone likes to believe in the system they work for, no less when it's healthcare, particularly when staff dedicate blood, sweat and tears to provide exceptional care despite the challenges of an overburdened system. The past 20+ months have highlighted concerns beyond my wildest dreams. I am sure most nurses can recount instances where they have challenged and asked questions that have saved a patient from harm or death. There are also undeniably instances where failure to ask questions has resulted in poor outcomes for patients. The very basic of healthcare and science is to ask and continue to ask questions and evolve as evidence changes. What I have seen over the last 20+ months is a slide into a frightening groupthink, eliciting dismissal of even basic questions about our management of the pandemic. Nurses with legitimate questions and concerns are too scared to speak up for fear of being ostracised, mocked, setting an exceptionally dangerous precedent. Healthcare should welcome questions, as should science. We should always be able to justify what we do. The absolute contribution of the medical profession now largely towards a segregated society is something I never believed I would see in my professional career, given the principles of nursing, law and ethics, purported provision of universal care. We care for those who have chronic illnesses due to lifestyle factors, those who have committed crimes, those who have abused substances in themselves, those who abuse and assault staff, many of whom burden the system through their choices. All of these patients I have seen treated with the care, compassion and respect that make up the core principle of nursing. Never have I seen any of these patients treated with the disdain and disrespect being provoted against those who are choosing to remain unvaccinated at this time or forever for a multitude of reasons, and it sickens me that the nursing and medical profession has been led that way so quickly, when we should be the very profession standing in the way of any discrimination, segregation and promotion of ignoring any evidence and science that contradicts our narrative. When patients experience events such as severe changes in mobility and cognition, increased cases of sepsis, stroke or heart attack, any possibility that it was related to recent shots was dismissed. While these incidences may very well have been coincidences, the absolute outright denial and lack of data collection was staggering and may mean we will never know the true statistics. I expect as we entered this vaccination phase, we would be promoted to log any events that occurred within the first days to weeks post-administration, and they would be investigated, or that the doctors were prompted under a very strict reporting guideline. If someone presented to the emergency department, should it not have been a routine question that we were obligated to ask and document given the nature of the vaccine development. I naively, wholeheartedly believed that as a healthcare system we would actively be looking for potential harm and be applying caution. All we were repeatedly told was that they were safe, for pregnancy, then safe for teenagers, and now here come the children. It became hard to get my head around how we could possibly know with so much certainty with the limited data we had. As the pandemic management rolled on, I was increasingly concerned how much of a narrow focus there was on the only one solution, the vaccines. It would be the holy grail. Continue to lock people out from seeing their loved ones, keep people masked, isolated and locked down. The solution was coming. It seems we dug a hole so big that we as a medical system at all costs will not look at the possibility that we are doing harm to thousands of people. It has broken my heart to watch the principles of healthcare and nursing disintegrate over the last 20 plus months. I don't know how any nurse can stand by the coercion and harm that is happening, and it is incredibly concerning that those nurses who would have been the fiercest advocates for their patients have now been removed from the system for advocating for themselves. This will only further contribute to the groupthink mentality, and frightening amount of professionals left seem to be well aboard the freight train of this narrative moving towards segregation with no sign of it slowing down. How is it not concerning to every health professional that we are largely going against the very immunisation handbook that should be our Bible in these circumstances is beyond alarming. It is also alarming the onslaught of media and healthcare establishment. The healthcare establishment is discrediting anyone as an anti-vaxxer or conspiracy theorist who have concerns over the fact we only have limited data and are seeing vaccine reactions with our own eyes. Any rational person should be able to see these smear campaigns as a red flag. As nurses have had to have many vaccines to work, have had to provide their vaccination status for traditional vaccines, and many of whom have administered vaccines during their practice. The huge concern by a large number of nurses should raise alarm bells and prompt open discussion and investigation, not name-calling, dismissal or job loss. I have seen nurses who have been reprimanded for severe misconduct treated with more respect from management and the nursing union, SA Health, and those at this time wish to remain their own choice over their own body over a vaccine that's still in trial phase. This should alarm everyone. I thank everyone who continues to show respect to everyone regardless of their vaccination status and who continues to practice according to the principles of healthcare that they signed up for. I thank those who recognise that there are serious concerns that aren't being acknowledged or addressed by the regulatory agencies assigned the responsibility. I thank those who have the guts to stand up for themselves against the groupthink of the medical profession and those who have made sacrifices in so many professions as the coercive measures continue to spread. This is absolutely about the bigger picture of scientific and healthcare integrity and our right to continue to advocate and ask questions not only for our patients but for ourselves. Where there is a risk, there must be a choice. We should not be able to pick and choose when we throw out the handbook and rules to which we are obliged to practice by. It goes against every nursing bone in my body. Every nurse wants the best for their patients we care for. This does not include losing experienced, passionate, caring staff to mandates without being able to provide the evidence of this being so overwhelmingly effective that we can justify the death of bodily autonomy. Thank you.
We have our whole life ahead of us, and it is getting taken away at a blink of an eye. My brother has a dream to play AFL, but he may never get to stand in an oval in the next couple of years, and that breaks our hearts. Mamas out there, this is about your kids' future. I'm grateful for you today, for your voice and your presence. It's what's going to get us to the end. This is tearing families apart. This isn't about health. This isn't about protecting us from a virus that has a 99.9% survival rate, which is basically the flu. This is about money and control. Since when has a $1 million reward for putting an experimental jab into your body been about health? Vax or not, we should all accept each other's decisions and love each other more than we did before all this started. They are trying to get us all to conform, but we will not. I pulled out of school this year to find my tribe, to find myself, and to find out what I really wanted to do with my life. Coming out of school, I have never realised how really structured it is. Now I'm simply able to learn, have a voice. They don't teach us about the Constitution, the Nuremberg Code, what happened with the Nazis and the Jews, which is similar to what we're going through now. They teach us about how vaccines are good, how they protect us, and how we should show compassion to people that have to wear a mask, so we have to wear one too. History repeats itself if we don't learn from it. I now run 2 businesses, work 2 jobs, whilst learning very valuable life skills. I believe we should all have a choice. They can keep pushing us, but I will never give up or give in. Stand tall, stand strong, spread love, not hate. It's what's going to get us through this together. Thank you for listening. I will now pass it over to Nate.
Hi, my name is Nate. I'm here today to stand up for my rights and freedoms, the thing my great-great-grandpa fought for in the war. Today my future is at stake, not only for my future football career, but my travel opportunities, my education and seeing the people I love. Over the past few years, I've missed a lot of opportunities, including my state sports, family holidays, and this year catching up with family for Christmas. Because I don't want to take an experimental jab that has no long-term safety data. I'd probably have a higher chance of dying from a head injury than COVID. I know at least 3 boys in Port Lincoln that have been diagnosed with myocarditis, which is not a mild heart condition. I strongly believe that this segregates families, in particular mine, and it has to stop. I don't want this to stop me from seeing my nana, and I'm sure you don't want it either. Let's stand up for our basic rights, basic human rights, before it's too late. Thanks, Nate.
Wow. You know, I got to hear that, was it Wednesday, Deanne? I think it was Wednesday night. They read it to me on the phone and I still cried even now. How incredibly powerful, guys. Look at these children who can speak like that to you all. I am so incredibly proud. They are the future. Our kids are the future. And look at what they're learning. They are learning some horrific things from our government. They're learning some horrific things in this health system and this segregation that is really happening to all of us at the moment. And as I said, we just need to really open our hearts and say, what is this about? What is going on here? It's, craziness. I never thought that we would ever see this actually in my lifetime. But here we are with businesses saying, no, you can't go in here unless you've had a double vax. So anyway, we've approached some businesses with some ideas, and I just want to share this because this is a collective that will continue. So this here is something that you will see in windows in our local businesses. Now, if there's anyone in the crowd who is a local business that I haven't had a chance to approach, or none of our team have had a chance to approach, and you'd like to support this movement, please come up because we've got lots of them up there. And this shows that we will not discriminate. I'm just going to read it to you. It says, welcome all, no discrimination. All you need is a good attitude. Pretty straightforward, right? Okay, and then we've got another one with a bit more information because some people just want it very brief, so we've got options for all. The top part and the love heart's the same. Welcome all, no discrimination. All you need is a good attitude. All customers who wish to patronise are welcome here. It is your responsibility to check in, and by entering, we assume that you've done so. If you don't wear a mask, it will be implied that you have a medical certificate. We've abided by our government COVID regulations, so our job is done. Thank you for shopping with us. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to attend your normal Christmas shopping and doing your normal things, your day-to-day activities, and not feel that horrible anxiety of are they going to come up me and you know, have a go or ask me for this. We know what you're feeling in this crowd. We understand. We feel you. We're with you. Do not feel alone. And I've just noticed the police over there. I'd just like to take a moment to thank the police for being here too, guys. You know, without their support, we wouldn't be able to do this. So I really appreciate. We have to recognise these people are part of this. They're part of us. We love them. We understand they have a job to do, but we need to have some compassion in the space as well.
You know, after almost 2 years, I still haven't met that mythical anti-vaxxer that the mainstream media keeps rolling on about every day. What I have met are people like you. Have a look around you. There's old people, young people, there's rich, poor, black, white, gay, straight, from the left, from the right, vaxxed, unvaxxed. We're a hugely diverse range of normal everyday people who have one thing in common. We care. We care about our families, we care about our friends, we care about our neighbours, we care about our futures, and we care about how we're going to survive, how we can support ourselves, how we can support one another. And perhaps most of all, we care about our children. Eyre Peninsula is known for its strong, passionate communities. We're here for each other. Have a look at the disasters that we've managed to get through. And nothing has ever threatened our unity or that cohesiveness until now. We're the people trying to hold together our precious communities, while a corrupt and broken system is doing everything it can to tear us apart. Fear and division's always been the mainstay of our governments. And so if we have a system that's deliberately trying to separate, isolate and mandate until our communities are fractured and divided, then we have a golden opportunity to come together in a new and better way. If the system's broken, well, how about we create a new one? A parallel community, a heart-based community, a good old-fashioned people-based community. We'll build alternative options where everyone's welcome, where we can share our skills and resources, and where we can bring together people without judgment and we can support one another. How much talent's standing here today? For example, we have an opportunity for alternative education. We've got kids who need spaces to learn and grow, and we've got homeschool families, we've got teachers, tutors, we've got school staff who no longer have jobs. We've got older people with all this wisdom to share who'd love to interact with young people. Imagine what we could build if we created opportunities to bring all of these people together. In the same way, we're looking for alternative health options. Having your pap smear or your prostate exam in a car park doesn't appeal to a lot of us. We've got a large number of nurses, we've got paramedics, we've got counsellors, alternative health practitioners. Imagine if we had an opportunity to come together and collaborate. We've got people who are passionate about growing and producing healthy food, about swapping seed, sharing knowledge, selling and swapping produce. We've got other people that are dead keen to learn how to grow a veggie garden. Well, let's share. Let's build a community. We've got people looking for work. We've got people looking for workers. We've got businesses who value and welcome all customers. We've got people looking for social contact. By standing up, there's many people here today who've lost family and friends, and that's particularly tough at this time of year. So we've got people arranging get-togethers, people offering support, offers to arrange things like working bees, and it all comes back to that idea of community, of connection. That false narrative out there is all about separation, and it's designed to make every one of us feel like we're alone. And that is a complete illusion. We're not. Have a look around you. This is a tip of an enormous iceberg. So if you're interested in helping to pull this together, then we need you. EP Parallel Community is still in the concept stage, but it's coming together as we're making connections. If you've got some IT skills to help with the online connection space, if you're keen to be involved in a certain area, if you're interested to be part of it, and feel free to leave your contact and email details. We've set up a Facebook group called EP Parallel Community, and that's going to be linked over to some Telegram groups when we get some coordinators. And that way we can start to arrange some catch-ups and start bringing like-minded people together. So it's time to leave behind what wasn't working anyway, and it's definitely not working now. And let's start focusing our energy on what unites us, what brings us together, and what strengthens us and lifts us as a whole. And let's put that heart back into community. I'm going to leave this out here. If you are interested in any way in being part of this, I'd love to catch up with you. Thank you.
Stuart Lindsay is a former Supreme Court judge and he's now retired. So he has worked in the federal circuit and state circuit and is very familiar with what the legal system is. This judicial review is extremely important. It's basically, he's got a whole bunch of documents coming on his desk today, or not today, it was the other day. I think he was getting all the documents that would have been presented in front of Nicola and the SA Police Commissioner. So he'll be seeing all of that and how they put us into a state of emergency and all of that information. He also has some support from, does anyone know Nikolai Petrovsky? So Nikolai is quite a bit more educated, I guess, than Nicola Spiria. So it's going to be an interesting case. He's quite confident quietly that we'll do quite well with it. So what it means, this case, if we win, is that every person that's lost their job will get it back, or they'll be remunerated. So it's huge, okay? Yeah, exactly, guys. Come on, let's give him a round of applause. Even though he wanted to be here today to speak with you himself. Very admirable man. And he's not here because obviously he's got a mountain of work that is so, so important. But these tins that are going around the crowd, guys, we're going to try and fill them to make this target for him. He's got to get 150,000 together as crowdfunding to be able to start it. So we're near to that now. I think they were up to about 130. I think this is about $20,000 that needs to be raised so they can get into it. And I'm hopeful that our crowd will be generous today to help to support this, because obviously that's a huge win for our whole state if it comes through. So please give generously and think about that. I'd like to welcome to the stage a very intelligent and talented Joanna Page. Is she in the audience somewhere? Oh, hello. She's going to help us start off a song. Thank you.
I came from the dream time, from the dusty red soil plains. I am the ancient heart, the keeper of the flame. I stood upon the rocky shores, I watched the tall ships come. For 40,000 years I've been the first Australian. I came upon the prison ship, bowed down by iron chains. I fought the land, endured the lash, and waited for the rains. I'm a settler, I'm a farmer's wife on a dry and barren run. A convict, then a free man, I became Australian. We are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australian. We are one. Let's go, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one voice. I am Thank you, guys. You're awesome. Thank you for being here today. As someone who actually lost their job in the mandates as of yesterday, I stand with you and I just thank you for what you stand for too.
We're all fighting.
There's, I call it an aha moment almost. I think it's almost like a saucepan over the head when you start to realise. So I just want to share this with you. Having never been through a pandemic or war and living a relatively peaceful life when COVID was announced in our country in March of 2020, it was quite earth-shattering for most of us, and we all really sort of were like, what to do with this? You know, what do we do? We were frightened, unsure, unprepared, uneducated, and trusted our government to fix this problem and save our nation. I know many people suffered the shits with this too, because the toilet paper went out the door, like we couldn't get any. So I know that there was some other issues going on. It wasn't until May of 2021 when I learned that the government had waived our rights as a nation to understand the patent details pertaining to these 3 trial vaccines. I remember reading in the advertiser that they had to do this to ensure that we would have enough supply for our whole nation, to ensure there would be 2 jabs for each person, which was a recommended full dose at the time. Obviously that's changed recently. Having studied marketing and working in business, I understand that patents are often trade secrets, and often things that big corporations don't really want us knowing about. I started doing my own critical research from there and was in awe of all of these cover-ups that kept coming up and weird things that kept occurring. Such as when I would check videos of professors or scientists that were losing their jobs for speaking out about things that they were finding, suddenly these things would delete before my very eyes. Things that I would share myself of my own experience and seeing things would delete from the weird little Facebook world. So I think until you start to see these things really happen before you, you don't realise that there's some other agenda perhaps going on. I couldn't fathom why people were so keen to be vaccinated with a drug that had no long-term research, especially with human research. I mean, that's sort of what we have to do. And ironically, on the ads of the TV, Nicola Spurrier specifically says that the vaccines have been tested and trialled in the exact same way as all other vaccines have been done. Now, is that, crowd, is that true? Is that a lie? Can you say it louder? Let's hear it. Is it a lie? Who's lying? Who? The government and Nicola, potentially, because she's saying it on public television that it's tested and trialled the exact same way. Now, we have medical people in this crowd that can say that is not correct. Okay. I'm mad with the government. Yes, I am mad with the government. I'm mad. Are you mad? Who's mad? Let's hear it. I'm mad. Right. Sorry. There is no such thing as a health system anymore. We have already been ostracised from society. We're already unable to go into certain businesses. We're already unable to get medical treatment. We're already unable to have to travel. Some of us not being able to see our family ever again in other states. Who here has family interstate? Is that a concern? I'm sure it just, of course it is. We are one, but we are many, and that's from all the lands on earth we come, but we can't even see people within our own land. It's bad enough in a small town, having limited shops and medical professionals and restaurants, etc., where we're 8 hours away from Adelaide, which will very soon become only accessible via 8 hours because we may not be able to board a plane. This is serious, guys. Like, it's becoming full on, and hence why we're here. Of course, this is part of the reason that we come together. So I'm just trying to change this over. Then to be impacted with the businesses mandating to not even serve us unless we're double vaccinated. Now, don't you think our businesses have gone through enough in this pandemic to then have to decide, okay, that, what are we, 20% that are over there, I'm not going to be able to serve them now either. It's craziness. So now we have a country where the vaccinated are the only ones who are allowed to travel, attend a hospital, go to the doctor, and go to any restaurants and shops, etc. So who's spreading the COVID? Like, we're seeing all this COVID being spread. It's just, we've got to start and think, what is this about? The COVID is being spread. It's being spread in the vaccinated people still. So, but the unvaccinated are being treated as if it's their fault that this is happening. If you guys can raise your hands in the air, I just want to know who in the crowd has recently lost their job? There's quite a few people, yep. Who thinks that it's a good enough reason to lose their job? I don't see one hand. I think they'd be a bit scared to do that though. Thank you for not raising your hand. Who thinks it's this is becoming very familiar to an era where Nazis were in occupation? Who has a confidence in our Prime Minister? Do you think he has our best interest at heart? Who has a confidence in our government and our politicians? Okay, I'd like to share a story with you about that just in itself. We have actually been making attempts to reach out to our politicians locally. I feel that that's always the right way to go about doing things, is approaching with love and you know, making sure they have the opportunity to try and fix things for us. I'd like to just say to you that we are unable to get any traction from Rowan Ramsey or Peter Treloar. So we won't get any assistance from them. I just want you to know that. I'm not suggesting who to vote for, and this isn't a political space, but there isn't much support there or empathy there. So just want you to know that. They are corrupt, and it would be great to get them out. So we do have an election coming, guys, so that's something to think about. Now, just as I said, we just want to make it very, very clear. We're not about discriminating in any way, shape or form. And this is why this movement's so important, because we want to make sure that every single person, child, and anyone can be looked after just the same way. You know, if you have a medical problem, the last thing that you need to feel is that anxiety of, am I going to get looked after here? Do they care? And it's just unacceptable. So look, I'd like to welcome our next speaker, please. Andy, I'd like to come up and have a little speak about the masks. Thank you.
Thanks, Ange. Up until Thursday, I was quite a passionate, happily employed school teacher of 7.5 years, and it was a gruelling profession, but a very rewarding profession. So that's quite a bittersweet experience to work quite closely with the most precious resource we have, which is our children. So I took the stand not to get vaxxed. I've got Anzac DNA in my blood. And just to honour that, I thought, no way, I'm not going to diminish that sacrifice that was made. So, thank you. And I'm pretty confident that most of you have probably got Anzac DNA in your blood as well, and that's why you're here. So thank you for joining us. To mask or not to mask? When asked to have a quick word regarding mask, I used the time I had available to find some information online. So I typed in the search term, can masks cause health problems? First website looked fairly reputable. I arrived at the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio. This ranked fairly highly in the Google search results. Can masks cause health problems? Not so, according to Dr. Raid Dweek, who is a medical doctor, institute chairman of the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio. His webpage cited, get the short answer from a pulmonologist. This guy is a qualified medical doctor. From his webpage, it says, at the Respiratory Institute, we've taken the position that there is virtually no circumstance that warrants an exemption from wearing a mask based on lung disease. Exceptions come along with the risk of individuals endangering themselves and everyone around them. But we have a collective responsibility to make sure that we are not placing our community in harm's way. Many patients with significant respiratory issues are able to wear masks without difficulty. Even patients on the lung transplant waiting list, who arguably have the severest forms of advanced lung disease, are able to wear masks. If they can do it, anybody can. Okay. At the top of his web page was a banner inviting everyone to come in and get jabbed. Fair enough, okay. I continued on down to the search results and found a peer-reviewed journal article from the National Center for Biotechnology Information, also in the US. Okay, titled Negative Side Effects of Blood Oxygen Depletion and Fatigue in Mask Wearers. Now, the aim of this paper was to provide a first rapid scientific presentation of the risks of general mandatory mask use by focusing on the possible adverse medical effects of masks, especially in certain diagnostic patient and user groups. These guys have done their research. Okay, the reference list comprised of 178 peer-reviewed documents. Not one guy on a web page with an opinion. Okay, this is substantial. For the time poor, read the abstract at the beginning, read the conclusion at the end, then get stuck into the bits in the middle, which is what I've done here a little. The conclusion of the article reads, the described mask-related changes in respiratory physiology can have an adverse effect on the wearer's blood gases, subclinically and in some cases also clinically manifest, and therefore have a negative effect on the basis of all aerobic life, external and internal respiration, with an influence on a wide variety of organ systems and metabolic processes, with physical, psychological, and social consequences for the individual human being. The article goes on to cite the impacts across a number of domains. Wearing masks significantly increases heart rates on an average of 9 beats per minute, with breathing rates. The aforementioned physiological and subject physical effects of masks on healthy people at rest and under exertion give an indication of the effect of masks on sick and elderly people even without exertion. Neurological side effects and dangers. Depressive self-experience, reduced participation, social withdrawal, and lowered health-related self-care, headaches, local acne, mask-associated skin irritation, itching, sensations of heat and dampness, impairments and discomfort predominantly affecting the head and face. The mask also causes an impaired field of vision, especially affecting the ground and obstacles on the ground, and also presents an inhibition of habitual actions such as eating, drinking, touching, scratching, and cleaning the otherwise uncovered part of the face, which is consciously and subconsciously perceived as a permanent disturbance, obstruction, and restriction. Wearing masks thus entails a feeling of deprivation of freedom and loss of autonomy and self-determination, which can lead to suppressed anger and subconscious constant distraction, especially as the wearing of masks is mostly dictated and ordered by others. Social and sociological side effects and dangers. Experts point out that masks disrupt the basic human communication, verbal and non-verbal. The limited facial recognition caused by masks leads to a suppression of emotional signals. Masks therefore disrupt social interaction, erasing the positive effects of smiles and laughter, but at the same time greatly increasing the likelihood of misunderstanding because negative emotions are also less evident under masks. So I just heard anecdotally the other day a story of somebody was masked up and just took it upon themselves, when they walked past somebody, they would just say, "Smiling." Just, how else would you know? A decrease in empathy perception through mask use with disruption of the doctor-patient relationship has already been scientifically proven on the basis of a randomized study of 1,030 patients. The 516 doctors who wore masks throughout conveyed reduced empathy towards the patient and thus nullified the positive health-promoting effects of a dynamic relationship. These results demonstrate a disruption of interpersonal interaction and relationship dynamics caused by the masks. In another microbiological study, the bacterium Staphylococcus aureus, food poisoning, and the fungus Aspergillus were found to be dominant germs on 230 surgical masks examined. A recent experimental study even demonstrated that all mask-wearing people, the surgical mask, the N95, the fabric masks, release significantly and proportionately smaller particles of size measuring 0.3 to 0.5 micrometers into the air than maskless people, both when breathing, speaking and coughing. So according to this, the masks act like nebulizers and contribute to the production of very fine aerosols. Smaller particles, however, spread faster and further than larger ones for physical reasons. This article concludes the described mask-related changes in respiratory physiology can have an adverse effect on the wearer's blood gases subclinically and in some cases also clinically manifest and therefore have a negative effect on the basis of all aerobic life, external and internal respiration, and an influence on a wide variety of organ systems and metabolic processes with physical, physiological and social consequences for the individual human being. In 1981, Dr. Neil Orr, a surgeon, published an article titled, "Is a Mask Necessary in the Operating Theatre?" in which he references 15 other peer-reviewed journal articles which all concur, and the abstract from his research, no masks were worn in one operating theatre for 6 months. There was no increase in the incidence of wound infection. This trial was designed only to see whether wound infection increased as had been predicted when masks were not worn. It did not. The conclusion is that the wearing of a mask has very little relevance to the well-being of patients undergoing routine general surgery, and it is a standard practice that could be abandoned. Pollution. Every minute of the day we throw away 3 million face masks. Every minute. Okay, the mathematicians among you will have just calculated that that equates to 129 billion face masks globally every month. 1.5 trillion a year. Researchers warned that many masks end up as potentially toxic micro and nanoplastic or carriers for other toxins in the environment. Okay, so they're a health risk. Locally, if you find that you are refused service for not wearing a mask, not signing in, not being double jabbed, don't defend your position. Just ask to speak to the manager or the owner of the business and ask them to put their refusal into writing so you can pass it on to your solicitor. Create a paper trail. So, in concluding, the mask, which originally served a purely hygienic purpose, has been transformed into a symbol of conformity and pseudo-solidarity. The World Health Organization, for example, lists the advantages of the use of masks by healthy people in public to include a potentially reduced stigmatization of mask wearers, a sense of contribution to preventing the spread of the virus, and a reminder to comply with other measures. The other measures are why we are all here today. These measures feed into divide and conquer us. We can't let this happen. We need to empathise with everyone. Everyone is important, everyone matters, everyone is loved. Thank you.
First of all, I just want to thank it's an honour to be following the people that have already spoken, and I hope I don't cover their points because there's some really good key points made, and I'll try not to cover the same key points. But I just want to particularly point out Nate and Ava, two ripping kids, and it's why I'm here. It's why I resigned from the board, and it's why I'm here. Young people and football is why I'm here. Okay, so that's why I'm here. Well done to both of them. A fantastic job. I just want to thank the organisers. Done a fantastic job. They are courageous, passionate, and they're taking action, and that's what we need. We need action. So well done to the organisers of today. I want to thank a fellow that probably a lot of you won't know, but his name's Stuart Lindsay. He's done some work with the organisers, and he's helped me a lot over the last 4 or 5 weeks. I call him the Marshal. He's like a sheriff of a town. He loves his town. He loves his people. And he'll do anything for them, and he is behind the scenes doing a lot of work. So I just want to acknowledge his help. Okay, the key point I want to make is, and it's been made by a few people, you're not alone. And I just want to give you some examples. Since I resigned from the board on Thursday, Wednesday, whenever it was, I've had lots of emails, lots of social media. I'll tell you a couple of these are real people that have contacted me. Someone from the Premier's own department has contacted me in a similar situation to us, in the Premier's own department, okay? Someone from senior person at Adelaide Oval Management has contacted me, waiting to have to quit their job. A lot of people have reached out to me. I've had a very high-profile AFL player reach out to me, and there's others. I've had an absolute legend of the game coach, ex-coach, who's reached out to me in the last 10 hours. So there's lots of people out there who are influential who are coming forward to me and will be coming forward in the next few weeks. We have 4 absolute legends of the Adelaide Football Club who are behind me. They'll be coming out in the next few weeks. I just want to say I love coming to Port Lincoln. I came here with how many people remember the Premiership Cup coming here in 97 and 98? Just stick your hand up. There's a few there. It was a great time. We bought the Premiership Cups here, we went up the main street, and it showed me the passion that people here have for football and for their community. So I've seen it and I've lived it, and that was some 20 years ago, and I haven't forgotten that. Now today I'm going to really sort of pin my talk around football. I'm going to try and carry the ball the whole time because that's what I did as a kid, and I know Nate would probably be carrying his footy around all the time as well. I'm going to try and hang on to it because that's what I'm going to try and pin my talk on. I'm going to talk from the elite level to the grassroots level, and I'm going to talk about, through football, what we stand for and what we don't stand for. That's going to be the essence of what I talk about today. And I'll try and hold on to my notes in the wind at the same time. Look, there's an odour of arrogance and tyranny that I saw seeping into football, and I couldn't stand for that. So that's something I could not stand for. I had a choice. I could either have just stepped down and gone off quietly, or step up, and I chose the latter. I chose to speak up. Just so you know a little bit about me, I just wanted to thank the media too. When I resigned, the mass media did pick up on a lot was in my statement, and I congratulate them for doing that. It was well balanced in most of the main media, not all. So for the media that's here today, I thank you for that. I really appreciated that, and it helped us. But a bit about me, because you wouldn't have seen anything about me that's positive probably in the advertiser, I don't think. But blue-collar parents. They instilled in me the importance of school, and they instilled in me the importance of honesty and transparency. I slept with this next to my bed when I was a kid, and I love the game of football. I have 2 sons aged 20 to 24, category 21 and 24, and they're keen sportsmen as well, and I've been married for 30 years. Yes, I've had some vaccines when I was a kid. I mean, what did I know when I was a kid? It's up to us as parents to protect our children and be informed, and that's why we're here today. I used to eat lollies at school for lunch, and I've realised that's not a good thing. Sometimes we realise what's good and what's not good. That's okay. We can change our minds. So I'm not anti-vax. Right now for me, these vaccines are not right for me, for my unique situation, and I think that shouldn't be imposed on us. Corporate organisations should not impose medical decisions on us. That's what my belief is. I played grassroots football, I played amateur league football. I started in 1996 with the Adelaide Football Club, loved every minute of it. The team aspect of sport won me over, the physicality of sport, of football, the camaraderie, it all won me over. I love the sport of football, and it is the epitome of what happens in the community, and it should be. I had a 21-year involvement, and I worked across a range of areas. As soon as I saw this madness infiltrating into a football club, I stood up, and I've never for one moment regretted it. I just kept putting one foot forward and thinking what's right. And that's what I urge everyone to do. That's what I did, and I urge everyone to do it. I tried to question. I didn't just walk away. I tried to question. I tried to warn. They came for me personally, but I couldn't be part of it. Once I did everything I could to get change and realised they were immovable, I thought, okay, it's time to not be part of it. Now, I'm going to talk about what football is not about and what football is about. Football is not about big corporations forcing medical decisions on footballers and their parents. Football is not about taking a risk with young, healthy footballers and vaccines that are a trial. The only trials our kids should be part of is football trials. The risk, we know the risk to the young of the COVID is near negligible. The risk of the vaccines, for this age group, particularly for young people, sports people, healthy sports people, the risk of the vaccines is much higher, and we don't know the long-term risk. I couldn't be part of that. Football is not about taking the fun out of football. And I do urge, as something to be able to contend with for the kids out there and the parents, you can always get that. You can always go to a park like this, kick it around, tackle each other, take marks, develop your skills. So for the short term, just keep doing that. I've always loved the smell of a football. I've always loved football. So keep doing it. It's something you can do. As parents get together, have a barbecue, let the kids run around and kick the footy. They'll still have fun, trust me. And that's what, the number one thing that kids love about football is fun. The research will tell you that. It's fun. Keep the fun in it for now. Football is not about hate and division. So don't hate those that don't contribute, don't hate those that have made different choices to us. Don't contribute to the division. And just finally, in football we play hard, we play fair, and we shake the hand of those opposed to us after a tough, fair contest. And I'll come back to that in a minute. What can we do? Well, we can take action, put one foot forward. What can you do for your unique situation? Everyone has a unique situation, so what can you do? What can you do to put one foot forward? It all counts, it does, trust me. I've got 3 C's that you can take away from today. Connect to people. If I hadn't have connected to people, I wouldn't be here today. If I hadn't have connected to people, I wouldn't have met Stuart Lindsay, and I wouldn't have met the great people that have organised this today. Connect and then coordinate, like they're doing here. Get things coordinated, because I can tell you, the people up there are very strategic and very coordinated. So that's what we need to do, as we're seeing today. And then challenge, take them on. Take them on. They're scared of us taking them on. They are. It reminds me of a famous coach made a saying with a team that he took over that wasn't performing that well, and they won 3 premierships. And he said, if they bleed, we can kill it. They're human, right? We can challenge them, and they're scared of us challenging them and uniting like we are today. I just want to pay tribute to Denny Van Hagen, who's the AFLW Crows player, and apologies for the Port people. My family's Port Magpies and Port Power, but I'm all Crows. But Denny Van Hagen's the first AFLW player that put a hand up, and to be first is what leadership is. She's a great leader. You've got a statue over there for Makerbee Diva. I reckon there should be a statue for Denny one day at Adelaide Oval, and it may well happen. What else can we do? I've got a website for you. I'm not sure if you've seen it. parentswithquestions.com.au. If you know it, great. If you haven't shared it with people, share that with people. It answers a lot of the questions. The stuff that we've covered here today, they can get that information, and that's what we need to do. We need to keep connecting with people. Right? Unvaccinated, vaccinated. Connect with them, and we will grow. I'll just go back to my point about you don't know where things might go. And like I said, I connected with Stuart Lindsay, and I'm here today. I've had people come out that I just never ever thought that I would come across. There is an amazing people. Did I mention the? I think I did mention that. I won't. I've already mentioned the high-profile coach that's come out, so I won't go back to that. I'll conclude. Because my talk's around football and around young people, but football is great and always will be, and don't ever lose sight of that. Right? This is what pins us together, and this is why we're here as a community. So just remember that. It's always going to be great. Don't let people take that away from us. What is football about? It's about the fact that you own the game. We own the game, okay? It's not owned by the people up there who think they own it. We own the game. We pay for their incomes, okay? We pay through taxes, we pay through money over the bar, we pay through our memberships and our subscriptions, and they're acutely aware of that, so don't forget that. That's where our power lies. Strength in numbers band together. That's been a common message today, I think. The other point I really want to make is about courage and being brave. We're all courageous and being brave in not taking the vaccination. But I've had people reach out to me and telling me their situations. People that their partner, husband or wife, their partner, has had to take the vaccination and didn't want to. That's brave, to support the children and pay their mortgage. That is brave and courageous. So it comes in many forms. In football, it comes in many forms. Rory Sloane puts his head over the football. That's courageous. Matthew Dix has to drop a player he loves because the team, it's not good for the team that week. That is brave. Right, so just remember that courage and braveness comes in many shapes and forms. So I just want that to be a key point that you take away. Some of the people that have reached out to me, I've had a radio announcer who's been, who I've did my only radio interview with. He's brave. He's trying to make a difference, keep his job. He's got a son that plays on the Crows list, and he's got 2 people in his life that have been affected negatively by vaccines. He is brave, and I see that, and I want you to see that in people. I've had the president of a bowling club who has retired from work. His bowling club is his whole life. He's the president, he plays, and he now has to walk away from his bowling club. That is brave. That is courageous. What football is about is the values that we expect in the football fraternity. Courage, respect and empathy. They want us to be divided, don't be. Respect others, reach out to people, show grace to people, and we all have one thing in common, and that is humanity. The game will be better if we aren't divided, and we can together win this game. Look, thanks a lot. Keep standing, and just remember, you're not alone. Thank you.
Ja, dat lukt wel. En hij was 5.